every single image of the megalodon you've seen is fake. This isn't a metaphor, nor is it just an inaccuracy. For 150 years, all of humanity has had it completely wrong. In 2025, 28 of the world's top scientists co-authored a research paper. The title was just one sentence. We've studied this for 150 years, and we got it all wrong. What did they get wrong? It wasn't just a giant version of the great white shark. Its true shape is more like a 94-ton torpedo. At 24 meters long, it was longer than a blue whale. It could chase whales across the ocean. Even more eerie, it vanished 3.6 million years ago, yet it never left behind a single corpse. No skeleton, no remains. Cleanly gone, as if it had never died. In 1875, the HMS Challenger of the Royal Navy, while trawling in the deep Pacific at about 4,360 meters, pulled up 2 megalodon teeth. No one cared at the time, until the dating results came back. They were from 11,000 years ago. But the generally accepted extinction date for megalodons is 3.6 million years ago. So where did this tooth come from? Could the megalodon have traveled from the deep sea of 28 million years ago, traversed through time, and ended up in today's deep oceans? Keep in mind, humans have explored less than 5% of the ocean. Is it possible it never went extinct? That it's just roaming the deep sea at night? In 1835, Swiss paleontologist Louis Agassiz officially named the megalodon for the first time. He stared at those massive triangular teeth and felt they looked too similar to great white teeth. So he concluded that the megalodon was just an oversized great white shark. This conclusion dominated the scientific community for nearly 200 years. The models in museums, the Hollywood movies, the textbook illustrations, they were all drawn based on this. But the problem is, sharks don't have bones. They only have cartilage, and cartilage doesn't fossilize. So after 19 million years, all the megalodon has left humanity. Our teeth scattered across the globe. Scientists were just guessing based on teeth. They guessed for 150 years, and they were all wrong. The turning point appeared in Belgium. Scientists unearthed a set of megalodon vertebrae. The torso section alone was 11 meters long. Note, that's just the torso. The head and tail were missing. The team immediately built a body proportion database covering 165 species of sharks to reverse engineer its true form. The moment the results came out, everyone fell silent. The megalodon's head accounted for 6% of its body, and the tail for 32%. 6%. What does this mean? Its body wasn't thick and rounded. It was slender like a bullet, like a torpedo. It wasn't an ambush hunter. It was a pursuit predator. Later, another vertebra was found in Denmark, 23 centimeters in diameter. Based on proportional calculations, that megalodon reached a body length of 3 meters and weighed 94 tons. What does that look like? It's longer than an adult blue whale. Standing upright, it will be as tall as an 8-story building. A 94-ton streamlined body. What did that mean in the ocean? It needed to eat about 1 ton of food every day, roughly the weight of an adult dairy cow. It had 276 teeth, arranged in several rows. When a front tooth fell out, a back one immediately moved up. It could replace 40,000 teeth in its lifetime. That's why in every sea around the world, megalodon teeth can be unearthed. They are the evidence of its existence on Earth. Wherever it swam, it left teeth behind. Its bite force exceeded 10 tons. The T-Rex was only 6 tons. Furthermore, its teeth had fine serrations. It didn't just bite through. It sliced like a chainsaw. Once caught, no prey could escape. This kind of monster ruled the oceans for a full 19 million years. Human evolution from apes until now is only about 7 million years. The megalodon existed for nearly 3 times the length of human history. Then, 3.6 million years ago, it suddenly vanished. No asteroid impact, no volcanic eruptions, no catastrophic events. It left behind not even a single complete corpse. This is the most eerie part. Scientists initially thought it died from the cold, since the Earth was entering an ice age back then. But research found that the megalodon was warm-blooded and could generate its own heat. A little cold wouldn't have killed it. The real answer is that it starved to death. 3.6 million years ago, the oceans underwent a massive biological extinction. 55% of large marine mammals disappeared, and whale populations plummeted. It was at this time that the great white shark appeared. The great white shark was smaller. It only needed about a dozen kilograms of food a day. The megalodon needed to eat a ton. When food becomes scarce, who can survive? An overlord that ruled the ocean for 19 million years was just like that, squeezed to death by a latecomer. But the story doesn't end here. Going back to that tooth at the beginning, a megalodon tooth from 11,000 years ago. How is it explained? Scientists later gave an answer. Deep sea currents, ancient teeth in the seafloor sediment layers, can be carried by currents and re-exposed, causing a shift in dating data. It sounds reasonable, but do you believe it? After all, we have only explored 5% of the ocean. On what basis can we conclude it's extinct? But scientists have given the most powerful counter-evidence, the body size of whales. Before the megalodon disappeared, whales couldn't grow large, because if they grew too big, they would be eaten by it. But after the megalodon disappeared, whales began to grow frantically, eventually evolving into the 30-meter-long blue whale. If the megalodon were still alive, would whales dare to grow this big? So, it is highly likely, perhaps maybe really dead. But the questions it left behind still have no answers. 19 million years of rule. 40,000 teeth scattered across the globe. Not a single complete skeleton. We don't even know what it truly looked like. There have been several reports claiming sightings of the megalodon, but they were all later confirmed to be fake. The research from 2025 is also just a working hypothesis. Scientists themselves admit they need more evidence. Perhaps there is that one tiny possibility, that it is living in the deep sea that we currently cannot detect. Or perhaps our future selves will find it on some seabed and dig out a complete fossil. Maybe only then can we truly see clearly this monster without bones. This ghost whose body cannot even be found. This ancient overlord that humans have studied for 150 years, but got everything wrong about. What did he actually look like? Until then, he remains the greatest unsolved mystery on Earth. The fact that you are alive to watch this video is pure luck. It is entirely because 3 million years ago, a group of monsters chose the wrong evolutionary path. He is called the saber-toothed tiger. Do you think the saber-toothed tiger is a tiger? Wrong. The blood relationship between saber-toothed tigers and tigers is more distant than the relationship between you and a sewer rat. They completely split off 20 million years ago. Calling it a saber-toothed tiger is as ridiculous as calling a rhinoceros a unicorn. You think the saber-toothed tiger relied on its long teeth to bite and kill prey? Dead wrong. These monsters weighed 400 kilograms, had two 17-centimeter fangs, but could only eat soft meat. They couldn't even bite through bone. Its bite force was not even as strong as a hyena's. Scientists have done the math. If the saber-toothed tiger hadn't gone extinct and had learned to hunt flexibly, humans might never have crawled out of the caves. Even more terrifying, in 2022, Chinese scientists discovered a new species in Yunnan. It's called the Megantereon nihowanensis, Longchuan sabertooth. It was about the size of a leopard, specializing in hunting ancient apes. Thousands of ancient ape fossils were found at the same location. Your ancestors were swinging in the trees 8 million years ago, thinking they had avoided the dangers on the ground. As it turns out, a group of professional hunters was waiting under the trees. They ate human ancestors as snacks for millions of years. But the irony is, when the last saber-toothed tiger starved to death 10,000 years ago, humans had already built the city of Jericho in the Middle East. Those unarmed humans survived, but this overlord with the strongest weapons died. Why? In November 2024, Russian scientists in the Siberian permafrost dug out a small cat mummy. The moment researchers sent it into the CT scanner, everyone gasped. This cub, only 3 weeks old, had a neck as thick as an adult lion's. The muscle density of its forelimbs was twice that of a lion cub of the same age. Even more absurdly, this fellow has been dead for 37,000 years, yet it's preserved as if it just fell asleep. Fur, claws, whiskers, even the carpal pads are clearly visible. This is the first time in human history that we have seen the true appearance of a saber-toothed tiger with our own eyes. And the truth it reveals is more shocking than you imagine. This overlord at the top of the food chain actually had only 1/3 the bite force of a lion. What does that mean? Even an angry jaguar could crush it in terms of bite force. So how did it dominate the earth for 3 million years? The answer is hidden in this mummy. Scientists discovered that the saber-toothed tiger didn't rely on biting to kill at all. Those two 17-centimeter-long fangs were not weapons. They were scalpels. When hunting, it would lie in wait in the bush, wait for the prey to approach, and then, like a professional wrestler, use those insanely thick forelimbs to wrestle a Hipparion, 3-toed horse, to the ground. The prey would be pinned down, unable to move, finding it difficult even to breathe. Only then would the saber-toothed tiger open its mouth, which could reach a 120-degree angle. This angle is nearly twice that of a lion's. Then, using its powerful neck muscles, it would drive those two scalpels precisely into the prey's throat, avoiding bone, cutting only soft tissue. In 3 seconds, the carotid artery is severed. The prey bleeds to death. This is not hunting. This is an execution, but there is a fatal problem here. Those two teeth are as brittle as glass. In 2004, scientists conducted an experiment, using a Smilodon skull model to bite a cow bone. On the third bite, the fangs snapped instantly. Once a tooth breaks, this Smilodon is essentially sentenced to death. It can only wait to die slowly from hunger. Therefore, every adult Smilodon is a master dancing on the edge of a blade. They must ensure that the moment the prey is pierced, it absolutely cannot move. What's even more critical is, the latest research published in 2024 found that Smilodon cubs develop extremely slowly. The weaning period is much longer than a lion's. They take a long time to hunt independently. This means parents must spend longer caring for their cubs. Once the environment changes drastically, the entire population cannot adapt in time. But this group of seemingly fragile predators actually had a social welfare system. In the Lob Reed tar pits in Los Angeles, scientists excavated over 2,000 Smilodon fossils. Among them was one with a congenital hip dysplasia. It was a cripple from birth. It was impossible for it to hunt alone. Yet it surprisingly lived to adulthood. Several others had broken legs, shattered ribs, and even traces of severe injuries where the skull was pierced. But the wounds had all healed. What does this tell us? It shows that other Smilodons were supporting them, sharing food with them. These seemingly cold-blooded killing machines actually care for their injured companions. Furthermore, in 2023, a team from the Chinese Academy of Sciences discovered on the Qinghai Tibet Plateau that Hetenjia proved the social behavior of Smilodons originated in China. A failure that couldn't even bite through bone, relied on family warmth to dominate the earth for 3 million years. Doesn't this contrast feel a bit magical? However, there's no wave that only rises and never falls. About 10,000 years ago, the Earth's climate began to change drastically. Glaciers melted and forests turned into grasslands. The prey facing the Smilodon completely changed. Those massive, slow-moving mammoths, giant ground sloths, and ancient bison went extinct one by one. What remained were agile small animals, deer, antelope, and rabbits. This is where the problem arose. The Smilodon's thick forelimbs evolved for wrestling, became incredibly clumsy when chasing swift deer. Its long fangs, designed to sever major arteries, found nowhere to strike on the thin necks of small animals. Even because of its delicate mouth, which could only eat tender meat, it couldn't even manage to gnaw on bones. At the same time, those low-end players it once stepped upon, wolves, pumas, and coyotes, because they ate anything and chased everything, weren't picky eaters, and had strong teeth, actually thrived in this disaster. Returning to the initial question, why did unarmed humans survive, while the overlord with 17-centimeter fangs vanished? The answer is because humans eat everything, and can adapt to anything. If there's no meat, we eat fruit. If there's no fruit, we eat roots. If there are no roots, we eat insects. But the Smilodon only knew how to do one thing: kill large animals. When that one thing could no longer be done, they died. This is the dark humor of evolution. Specialization brought peak dominance, but specialization also meant the path became narrow. Furthermore, the saber-toothed design was independently invented at least 5 times in Earth's history. Scientists call this convergent evolution. From the Gorgonopsian 250 million years ago to the marsupial Thalacosmilus and the Nimravate Hoplophonius, these completely unrelated species, in different times and spaces, evolved the same weapon by coincidence. Nature is like a persistent blacksmith, forging this unparalleled blade time and time again, to hand over to different assassins. But every time, the ending for this blade is the same. When the environment shifts, the blade breaks and the tiger perishes. By the time the last Smilodon died, humans had already established the city of Jericho in the Middle East. The world's first city had already flourished for many years. We could have seen them with our own eyes, but we only see their skeletons in museums. That skeleton with its mouth open at 120 degrees seems to be silently saying, power never equals eternity. Perfection often means fragility. Smilodon used 3 million years of glory and its extinction 10,000 years ago to teach all life a lesson. In the long river of evolution, there is never a so-called strongest creature, only survival of the fittest. Relying too much on a single advantage is often the foreshadowing of tomorrow's extinction. Today, giant pandas only eat bamboo, and koalas only eat eucalyptus leaves. When these foods disappear, will they become the next Smilodon? And while we humans won this evolutionary gamble with fire, tools, and brains, will we be spared when the environment changes drastically again? In the end, the Smilodon's fangs did not pierce the enemy's throat. Instead, they pierced its own future. This story is not just about extinction. It is about choice.